Hello, my loves. Welcome into this video for the new moon in Scorpio solar eclipse. I'm so excited to get started here on this journey. First things first, if you are new, hi, welcome in. It's nice to see you. It's nice to have you here. I do have a tutorial video, how to get the most out of these readings with my tips and tricks and how to engage with this material and your spiritual support team as we receive this guidance. You can watch that video if you feel called, if it feels supportive. It's not necessary, but it is there for you if it feels good to you. For those who are not new, hello, y'all. How are you? It's good to have you back here. Thank you so much for being here. As you hopefully already know, it is a pleasure to be offering this service to you, this guidance, this self-understanding through astrology, this connecting with our spiritual support team, our inner knowing through the spiritual sacred tools of the cards. And it's an honor and a joy, and I am so lit up by this Scorpio solar eclipse, and I'm excited to jump in and talk about it. So first, let's talk about new moon energy. New moons always represent for us new beginnings. New cycles are starting. The cycle that's starting is always under the theme of the sign that it's in, and it relates to the house that this energy is happening for us. We'll get more in depth with that house energies in just a moment. So the energy that this new moon is happening in is in the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio is a fixed sign, which means that it is an unchanging energy. It's also a water sign, which represents the emotional realm. So essentially, the Scorpion energy is fixed water, unchanging emotions. That's this energy of the Scorpion archetype. Now, the Scorpion is the totem of the Scorpio energy, and it represents this deep dive into deep knowledge, into deep knowing, that relentless search for truth, diving deep into the core of who we are, why we're here, and really understanding that on a deep, deep level. The Scorpion energy also has this energy of flying high, like an eagle or like a phoenix, because it has this transformative nature. The Scorpio season happens during All Hallows Eve, which is when the veil is the thinnest between our world and the other side, and it represents this death and rebirth energy. So if you didn't watch the readings for the solar season in Scorpio, where we dive into where Scorpio is occurring in your own chart and you learn more about how to embody that energy and we get guidance from our support team, I recommend you check out that video after these videos if that feels good and right to you. Now, let's talk about eclipse energy. So the normal lunar phase, lunar cycle is 28 days. From one new moon to another, or one full moon to the next. Eclipse energies last us for 6 months. So this is a new beginning that we're going to see unfold and experience unfolding over the course of 6 months. This eclipse is referencing the lunar eclipse when the moon was full in Scorpio 6 months earlier on May 16th. So this energy here is a culmination of 6 months prior. I did a reading for that eclipse, and I will be reviewing the information that came through from that reading at the end of the videos. So this cycle is going to go from October 25th, which is when this eclipse happens, at 6:49 in the morning, that's Eastern time. And this energy, like I said, is going to be potent for 6 months. So it's going to last until May 5th, 23, which is going to be another lunar eclipse in Scorpio. More time to focus on this energy and utilize these powerful eclipse portals to move us forward in our personal goals and in our collective goals. Now, before we dive deep into this energy, into this information that's coming through here, I want to take a moment to talk about a cycle that's much, much larger that I haven't really talked about before this moment. So we are in a cycle called the Great Year. And some of you may have heard of this through the age of Aquarius. We're moving out of the age of Pisces and we're moving into the age of Aquarius. The Great Year actually goes backwards in the zodiac. So the energy of Aquarius is humanitarian focused. So overarching all of the work that we're doing right now is this energy of supporting humanity, supporting the collective, becoming a united, collaborative species. That's the overall theme of all of this energy and all of this work that we are doing on individual levels. It's permeating out into the collective. So this Scorpio new moon solar eclipse wanted me to connect with you and show you the power of prayer. So it doesn't matter what your spiritual beliefs are. You could call this an affirmation. You could call this an intention. You could call this a prayer, a meditation. The word that you use to describe what we're going to do here in just a moment is up to you to determine. And you can work with your spiritual support team in ways that feel good and right for you. But what I was receiving was that this powerful solar eclipse is a moment for us to make a wish, to start something new. And I'm inviting all of us watching these videos to take a moment and to set aside our personal goals, our personal life, whatever's going on an individual basis, and set a prayer, set an intention for humanity with this solar eclipse. My prayer, my intention is that our entire human family wake up to the truth of our collaborative, loving, and selfless natures. This is actually something that I've been learning about scientifically. It is proven, and there is an explanation for why we as a species have been so angry, alienated, competitive, and egocentric, despite our natural desires to be cooperative, to be loving, and to act in service of the whole. So this is my intention and my prayer. I'm going to read what's called the Ho'oponopono prayer. And I invite you to say this prayer with me and hold this intention for our human collective. Again, holding the intention that we all wake up to the truth within us, to our own natures of being collaborative, cooperative, and loving towards our human family as a whole. Here's the prayer. Father, mother, child, as one, if I, my family, relatives, and ancestors have offended you, your family, your relatives, and ancestors, in thoughts, words, deeds, and actions, from the beginning of creation to the present, we ask your forgiveness. Let's cleanse, purify, release, cut all the negative memories, blocks, energies, and vibrations. Let's transmute these unwanted energies into pure light. And it is said, it is done, and set free. Thank you all for joining me in this collective intention and prayer. I don't normally do this in my videos, but I was really guided to do this. Another reason I think I'm guided to do this is because, as I mentioned, the Scorpio energy is the thinning of the veil. This is the time for us to connect to our ancestors, the ones who did all of this work to get us where we are so that we could wake up to the beautiful freedom and truth of what it is to be a human living in cooperation with other humans on this earth. This is what the age of Aquarius promises us. And each phase that we go through is helping us to move closer and closer to this reality, bringing it into form. So back to the readings. How do you know which reading is for you? Well, you are going to have two readings. You're going to first watch the interpretation for where the moon was when you were born. So if you don't know your birth chart information, this is the time for you to watch my tutorial video on how to find your birth chart information on astro.com. You go to that site, enter in your birth data. If you don't know your birth time, please don't stop there. I have a tutorial video linked in that video that'll tell you how to find your birth time so that you can access this all-powerful information of the vibration that was in play the moment you took your first breath in this life. So you're going to watch the interpretation for where the moon was when you were born, and you're also going to check in to see what house this current eclipse is happening for you. So how do you find that out? I'll explain that in the video, so if you don't know, watch that video too. But you're going to look for where Scorpio, symbolized by the M with the little pointy tail, occurs at 2 degrees exactly in 2 degrees. Okay? And whatever house that's in, you're going to also watch the video for the house reading. Now, of course, you can skip through the introduction once you've watched it once, and you can skip through where it says house interpretation. Watch the card reading and then scroll ahead. Okay, I do timestamps on these videos to help you guys scroll through the information that you don't need or that is repeat, and help you to get the most out of this information and not waste any of your time. Okay? If after watching the tutorial video you have questions on how to find this information and what video is right for you, please feel free to reach out. So if you feel called to support me for this information, for this guidance, for the way that it supports you, you can do that in so many ways. You can like, you can comment, you can engage with this material, which helps get me out to more people. You can share this with anyone you think would find it interesting and valuable. And of course, you can support me in my services. I have a weekly chakra meditation service on WhatsApp. It's only $14.40 a month. You can go to devotedandvulnerable.com/services to sign up for that. I also offer chart readings on that website at that same address, so you can go there. And if you just feel called to offer me a financial contribution out of the goodness of your heart and it feels aligned to you, you can do that at paypal.me/devotedvulnerable. Link is in the description. So we are going to be getting guidance from the Angel Therapy deck by Doreen Virtue. And we are ready to dive into what our spiritual support team wants us to know about the new beginnings we are starting in the next 6 months. So this reading is for you if the moon was in Leo when you were born, and or if this 2 degrees of Scorpio new moon solar eclipse is occurring in your 5th house. So if you haven't already taken a few deep breaths, called in your spiritual support team, and opened your heart to receive the guidance that's most aligned for you at this time, I invite you to do that. Pause the video if you need more time. And here is your advice and guidance over the next 6 months. I'm sorry, but here it is, vegetarian vegan. Here's what the card actually says. Fresh organic fruits and vegetables give you a boost of high life force energy, which elevates your spiritual frequency. Okay, I'm going to get into the interpretation of what this means for your moon and for your house. But before I get in there, I just have to say, I love you. This doesn't mean you have to give up meat entirely. The focus of this card is the energy of what you're consuming and how that influences your frequency. One of the realizations that I had when I chose to commit to a vegetarian lifestyle, was that the energy of meat holds the vibration of what was happening for the animal right before their life was extinguished. And so if they were in a fear-based energy when they were relieved from this incarnation, that you are actually ingesting that energy into your body, into your being. If they were in an environment that was inhumane, that's actually stored within the cells of the animal, and that when you consume that animal, you're also consuming that enslavement energy and vibration. That's for both of you, but now we're going to get into the moon interpretation. If you're here for the house alignment, scroll ahead. Okay, grateful that you're still with me, Moon and Leos. This is always a hard card for me to give to people because I don't want to preach or tell people what to do. Before we get more into the card, though, I want to cover what the moon in Leo represents. If you're already familiar with this energy, scroll ahead to the interpretation. Okay, so the moon in Leo. Moon represents our emotions. The location it's in our chart, the sign it's in, represents how our emotions express. So your emotions express themselves through the Leo archetype. Leo is a fixed, unchanging energy of the zodiac. It's a fire energy representing spirituality, so it's unchanging spirituality. It's the energy of summer, the fullness of summer, which is where that fixed energy comes from. It's the archetype of that lion, the roar energy. You may find that your emotions are encouraging, dramatic, generous, confident, and expressive. So, switching to the vegan vegetarian message here. Your emotional sphere is calling you to an awareness, to a shift, to a new beginning, and to an awareness of how you eat, of the vibration of what it is that you are eating. Different colored foods is important. Like I'm seeing greens and purples and oranges and yellows. And really recognizing that colors have their own vibration as well. And so as you ingest a color, you're also ingesting the vibration of that color. I'm keeping in mind that our emotions are what's speaking here. So I'm going to share this with you, and it may or may not hit or land or resonate, and that's okay. I am being called to share this, and again, this is a sensitive subject for me because I don't want to tell you what to do. I'm never trying to tell you what to do. I'm trying to guide you and let your spiritual support team guide you to what is most aligned for you. And that's all I'm ever trying to do. But for me, emotionally, when I tapped in to what I felt as I was pulling meat to my mouth, I felt my inner child, my emotional self, cringe, cry, and be filled with pain. I felt the love that I feel for animals, and I felt myself stuff it down every bite that I took. That for me was the emotional shift that was the most powerful and potent and all-changing awareness. I didn't know that I had this pain, this stuffing down of consuming an innocent creature every time. And once I was aware of it, I couldn't deny it. I couldn't tell my emotions, oh, this is just the way things are. Deal with it. It tastes so good. There wasn't enough for me anymore once I felt that within my heart. And so I'm inviting you, because of this emotional alignment, because this is happening in relationship to your emotions, I'm bringing this awareness to you and asking you just to check. When you go to take that bite, what's going on in your heart? Is there a bracing for impact? Is there a cringing? Is there this energy? Regardless of that, you don't have to go completely vegetarian if that doesn't feel called for you. Maybe pick a day of the week or 2 or 3 days of the week where all you do is eat vegetarian. You, for yourself, will know how most to incorporate this information. It may just mean more fresh fruits and vegetables for you in addition to the meat that you eat. It doesn't have to be 100% complete shift. However, it may mean that for you. Okay? Yeah. I don't know what else to share with you here. Like I said, I do feel awkward always giving this card. This card came up for my nephew twice in a couple of readings, and I was just like, I'm not trying to convince you to be like me. Because that's not what I am. I'm trying to get you connected to your team, and your team is saying, pay attention to the vibration of what you eat. Even pay attention to how you eat. Like, another thing that you can do is pray. or give thanks if if the word prayer is charged for you in a negative way. Give thanks for your food before you eat. My partner and I have been doing this for over a year now, and it has been so transformative for me to just sit down and thank and connect with every one of my human families, every being that gave of themselves so that I could eat this meal. All of the people who did the shipping, the stocking, the selling, the growing, the packaging, all the people who contributed to me and my services so that I could have the finances to go out and buy that, the car that I needed to take there, the mechanics that have worked on my car, like all of the amazing ways that my human family has facilitated this meal for me, and giving thanks for that, because that energy that you eat in is so important. Another thing is not watching TV while you eat, not being distracted while you eat, not even having conversations while you eat. Just sitting and being present with your food can shift the energy of what it is you're consuming and how you're consuming it. So it may not just be what you're consuming, but it may be the energy of your consumption that your guides are calling you to be aware of this solar eclipse phase. Yeah? Comment, let me know how you are resonating with this or not resonating with this. Let me know if you have questions. Go and check your house alignment. See where in your life this energy is in play and what advice is coming through for that as well. Until then, and as always, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors that universal light within you. Namaste. All right, fifth housers. So we're going to talk about what the fifth house energy is first. If you're already familiar with it, you can scroll ahead to the card interpretation. So the houses represent the where of our astrological story. So where this new beginning, this deep dive in Scorpio solar eclipse, powerful portal energy is occurring for you is in your house of pleasure. Woo! Not a bad place to have it. So the fifth house represents fun and games, pleasure, hobbies, creativity, and first child energy. So when it comes to the vegetarian vegan energy here, you're being invited to take pleasure in the spiritual frequency and vibration of what it is that you're consuming. Whether or not you're still consuming meat, I'm unattached to, but your guides are here to bring your awareness for the next 6 months to the vibration of what it is that you're eating. Eating lots of different colors, eating as many fresh fruits and vegetables as possible for you. Remember that color has a frequency, has a vibration. So if you're eating greens and yellows and purples and sometimes blue, I guess, you are ingesting that vibration as well. The chakras are all the colors of the rainbow. And so as you eat different colors, you're activating those different energy centers within your body. This is so very critical and important, and it's a new beginning for you. You're going to be taking pleasure because this is the house of pleasure. You're going to be taking pleasure in how you eat. A couple things that were coming through for me for the moon interpretation that I'll reiterate here is that you may also be invited to have a more spiritual awareness, a more conscious connection to your food as you eat it and before you eat it. So before you eat it, you can give thanks for every single person that you can think of that contributed to the meal in front of you. The people who did the stocking, the selling, the buying, the growing, the packaging, the shipping, the people that contributed to you financially so that you could pay for the food, the mechanic that's been working on your car so that you can get to the store, or the car of whoever got your groceries. You can see all of the ways that we are interconnected when you sit and you give thanks for the meal that you're about to receive and ingest, and you can ask that your food be assimilated in your body in ways that are supportive for you. Another way to be mindful while you eat is to pick up a bite, put down the fork or the spoon, and chew. And wait to eat another bite until you've completely tasted and dissolved the food within your mouth. This is excruciating for me to do. I did this practice for I think a month. and I felt a lot fuller, and I tasted things and actually changed what I ate because I was able to taste them now. But it was so excruciatingly painful for me to sit there and just do nothing, because you're not supposed to watch TV, you're not supposed to have conversations while you're eating, if you want to do it consciously. So this is what you're being invited into: conscious eating, being aware and incorporating as many fresh fruits and vegetables into your diet, eating for the feeling of how you feel after, not how you feel during or before. Okay, that's very important here as well. You may consider shifting to a vegetarian vegan diet. If that doesn't feel possible for you, pick a day that you eat vegetarian vegan only, or a few days a week that you eat vegetarian vegan only, and see how you feel with that shift. All right, my beautiful 5th house Scorpio solar eclipses. Woo! Hello with this energy and this guidance. Let's actually review what came through for you for the lunar eclipse 6 months ago. The information was singing and dancing and perspective, that you were going to perspective shift through activating your voice, activating your dance, in this house of pleasure that makes so much sense, becoming engaged in the pleasure of singing, the pleasure of dancing, the hobby of singing and dancing, making it actually a hobby to express yourself in these ways. And through doing so, there's this energy of perspective shift. Now, back then when I offered these readings, I said it was going to be a year-long cycle because we're going to have these same 2 eclipses repeating again in 2023 in May. So this theme of singing and dancing and a perspective shift may be continuing through this 6-month period as well. And there's this new energy of vegetarian vegan as well. If you want to hear me dive deeper into this guidance for you from the 6 month ago eclipse, you can go ahead and watch that video and see the guidance that came through for you there. All right. Comment. Let me know how this is resonating or not with you. Let me know if you have questions. And as always, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors that universal light within you. Namaste.